My name is Anna Ellis. I'm 37 years old, the kind of daughter who always handled things. Bills, emergencies, last-minute crises that only you can fix. For 14 years, I thought that meant I mattered. Then one Thursday morning at 7:12 a.m., a text came through. Please don't come this Thanksgiving. We're keeping it just family. No emojis, no explanation, just those words, as if I weren't part of that definition of family. I stared at the screen for a full minute. The sun hadn't even risen properly yet. The sky outside my apartment window was pale and blank, exactly how I felt. I didn't type why. I didn't beg for context. Instead, I just wrote back, message received. Expect a note. And for the first time in years, my hands didn't shake. I set the phone down, opened my laptop, and scrolled to an old shared folder titled Family Support Tracker. A file I'd created over a decade ago. I'd meant it as a practical thing back then. Keep records, stay organized. But really, it was proof. A quiet act of self-defense. Line by line, $100. Mom and Dad's rent the year Dad lost his job. 5/6, Ethan's braces. $9,400. Claire's car repairs because she couldn't miss Coachella. $12,000. Dad's hospital bills when insurance got tricky. And so on, down a column that stretched 14 years deep. $682. That was the total. I used to tell myself it didn't matter, that love wasn't about keeping score, but exclusion changes the math. The laptop's glow lit my face as I leaned back in the chair. Around me, the apartment felt too neat. The quiet kind of space you build when you don't expect guests. I thought of the countless family dinners I'd flown home for, the gifts, the shared bills, the open tabs. I thought of my boyfriend, Evan, and how he'd warned me months ago. One day you'll realize they don't love you for who you are. They love you for what you pay for. He wasn't cruel, just honest. I'd brushed it off. Told him, you don't understand my family. Now I was starting to think he did. I got up, walked to my drawer, and pulled out a small folder. Legal papers still sealed in a cream envelope. The beach condo deed. It had always been under my name. I'd bought it with Grandpa's inheritance, but Mom liked to call it our family place. I held the envelope a little tighter. The air felt different, thinner, sharper. There was also a spare set of car keys in that drawer. A car registered to me, driven by my brother. I placed both the keys and the envelope beside my laptop. That's when it hit me. They'd already erased me, and I was still holding their safety net. I opened my banking app and began closing transfers. The ones labeled Mom Rent, Claire Utilities, Ethan Insurance. One by one, I ended them. Then I listed the spare car for sale. By noon, it was gone. By evening, the condo was listed. It wasn't revenge. It was arithmetic. 14 years. That's how long I'd been the family's fallback plan. It started when I was 23, fresh into my first tech job, a paycheck that felt like freedom. Mom had called crying that month. Just a little short on rent, honey. Just for a month. I wired her the money before dinner. She never said thank you, but she did say, you've always been the responsible one, Anna. You keep us together. Translation, you pay. And I did. For birthdays, for emergencies, for dreams that weren't mine. Now, years later, that same family decided I didn't count. And instead of arguing, I chose silence. The kind that speaks louder than explanations. At 3:34 p.m., I began typing an email draft. The subject line read, Notice of Asset Reclamation. It wasn't anger guiding my hands, it was precision, the kind I'd spent my whole life saving for them, now saving for myself. As dusk settled, the city outside my window flickered with lights. I closed the laptop and exhaled. For the first time, I felt something I hadn't in years. Not peace exactly, but clarity. They wanted distance, so I gave it to them, legally documented. When I hit save on that email draft, I didn't send it right away. I wanted to feel it first, to let the reality sink in. 14 years of automatic transfers. 14 years of quiet enabling disguised as love. And all it took to end it was a text message that said I wasn't family. I scrolled through the spreadsheet again, the dates and notes like scars. Every row had a story attached to it. Mom's trembling voice over the phone, Dad's guilt-laced sigh, Claire's bright, "You're the best," text that always arrived right after the money did. I used to think this was what good daughters did, that helping was love, that giving was belonging. But belonging shouldn't make you feel disposable. It started small, back when I was 23. I had just landed my first real tech job, Full benefits, a corner cubicle, the kind of excitement that made every paycheck feel like a miracle. That first month, Mom called crying. "We're short on rent, sweetie. Just until Dad's hours pick up again." I wired her Kenny $100 that night. She said, "You're such a blessing, Anna." I believed her. The next month, she needed help again. Then it was Ethan's braces. Then Dad's hospital bill when insurance didn't cover enough. Then Claire's car that broke down on the way to Coachella. She called sobbing, terrified she'd miss her flight. I paid the mechanic over the phone. And so it continued. Every year, every one-time emergency. Even after Dad got rehired. Even after Claire got promoted. Even after Ethan launched that ridiculous crypto venture that imploded within 6 months. Whenever they needed a net, I was it. Evan once asked me why I kept doing it. We were sitting in my kitchen, him stirring coffee, me reading an email from Claire about another small loan. He said, "You know, it's wild. They act like you're part of their retirement plan." I laughed it off, but his eyes didn't. "They don't respect your boundaries, Anna. They respect your bank account." I snapped at him that day. "You don't get it. Family helps each other." He nodded slowly. "Sure, but this isn't help. It's harvest." At the time, I thought he was being dramatic. Now I know he wasn't. The breaking point came last Thanksgiving, 1 year before the text. Mom, Dad, Claire, Ethan, and Claire's boyfriend had taken a trip to Maui. I found out the way everyone does these days. Instagram. Claire had posted a story. Everyone smiling on a beach, matching straw hats, the caption, "Ohana time." The same beach condo I'd helped Dad refinance 3 years ago, so he wouldn't lose the property. I sat there scrolling through each photo, each tag. Claire, Dad, Mom, even Ethan's new girlfriend. Everyone but me. I hadn't been invited. I remember Evan walking in that evening asking what was wrong. I showed him my phone. He stared at the screen, then at me. "You paid for that condo," he said softly. I nodded, throat tight. He put his hand over mine. "Then it's not a family trip, Anna. It's a funded vacation." I didn't respond. 2 days later, Claire texted me. "Hey, my credit card got flagged. Can you spot me $400 until next week?" No apology, no mention of Maui, just business as usual. And like the fool I was, I sent it. But this year's text, "Don't come, we're keeping it just family," broke something clean. It wasn't anger, it was recognition. They didn't forget me. They excluded me, intentionally, because my usefulness was starting to dry up. That's when I realized it was time to send the letter. The draft I'd started the night before grew sharper as I typed. Effective immediately. All financial support previously provided by me is terminated. All jointly held assets will be reclaimed or liquidated. Please direct any inquiries through legal representation. No emotion, no room for debate, just facts. I attached the proof. Every transaction, every loan, every favor. Page 1, annotated spreadsheet. Page 2, notarized deed for the condo. Page 3, car sale documentation. I copied our family lawyer, Mr. Howard, the same man who once told me over wine at a Christmas party, "Anna, you're the reason this family runs." Let's see if he still thought so. I didn't hit send yet, not that night. I sat back and looked around my apartment. Clean, quiet, modest. Everything here was mine. No one could uninvite me from it. That's when I realized how much of my life had been lived for their approval, and how invisible I'd become in the process. I pressed send, 3:34 p.m. on a Thursday. And just like that, 14 years of obligation ended with one click. 17 hours of silence. Then the buzzing started. Claire. "Is this a joke?" Mom. "Please call me now." Dad. "We need to talk. This isn't like you." Ethan. "You transferred the car? What the hell, Anna?" I didn't answer. I turned off my phone, went to the gym, then came home and cooked dinner in peace. It was the quietest meal I'd ever had, and the first one that truly belonged to me. The next morning, my phone buzzed nonstop, 27 missed calls, 12 voicemails, but I didn't listen to a single one. By the third day, the messages changed tone. Mom's text went from, "Please, let's talk," to, "You're hurting everyone." Claire sent a long paragraph about family loyalty. Dad wrote a short one. "I'm disappointed in you." And Ethan, ever dramatic, texted, "You've ruined everything." Claire's crying. Mom's sick. "Are you happy?" I wasn't happy, but I was calm. I poured myself coffee, sat by the window, and let the silence stretch. Then another notification appeared, a shared Google Drive link. The title read, Logistics, from Claire. No message, just the link. I hesitated before clicking, but curiosity won. Inside was a neatly organized folder. Thanksgiving Itinerary 2024. Color-coded documents, custom menus, floral arrangements, guest lists, even a wardrobe guide. At first, I almost laughed. The audacity of it, planning a luxury holiday after uninviting me. Then I saw another file at the bottom of the list. Q1, Q2 Family Support Budget. I opened it, and that's when my breath stopped. The first column listed initials. C, Claire, E, Ethan, M, Mom, D, Dad, A, Anna. The next column, projected contributions. Under my name, $48,000. Already divided into neat categories. Rent support, Mom, $2,000 in 4 months. Vehicle maintenance, Dad, $1,200. School deposit, Ethan's son, $5,000. Boutique expenses, Claire, $7,800. Beach condo upkeep, $3,000. Q2 buffer fund, $8,000. Discretionary safety net, $20,000. Every cell filled with confident precision, as if the money already belonged to them. Then I saw the final tab labeled contingency. Inside, one note: if A becomes resistant, remind her how much we've done for her emotionally. If needed, use guilt angle through Mom. She'll crack faster. My chest tightened, not from shock, but from recognition. They'd been playing the same script for years. I'd just never realized they'd written it down. I scrolled down, writing lines highlighted in yellow. A always responds to emotional appeals. Don't mention totals. Focus on family unity. If she brings up repayment, call it love given freely. Every line was manipulation disguised as affection. And suddenly, all of those old memories started flashing back. The subtle guilt trips, the half jokes, the praise followed by requests. Mom's teary voice. You're the strong one, Anna. You'll understand. Dad's dismissive shrug. You make more than all of us combined. You can afford it. Claire's sigh. You know how much stress I'm under. And I had fallen for it every time. I stared at the spreadsheet until the words blurred. Then I whispered out loud. They don't see me. They see my balance. It wasn't confusion. It wasn't miscommunication. It was calculation. They didn't love me. They leveraged me. That night, I printed everything. 28 pages in total. I laid them out on my dining table like evidence at a trial. Beside them, I placed my own folder. Years of receipts, bank statements, Venmo screenshots, tax forms, loan agreements, and even the contract for Claire's failed boutique, which I'd quietly funded with $24,000. Every dollar accounted for, every lie exposed. At the top of the file, I typed one sentence. What family took unreturned? The total $610, and that was me being generous. By midnight, I stopped shaking. This wasn't about getting money back. It was about something far rarer. Dignity. For years, I thought love meant endless giving. Now I saw it clearly. Real love doesn't need ledgers, but real respect does. I opened a new document and titled it Final Notice, Personal Statement. It read, To my family, this is not revenge. This is a record. I have been your safety net, your cosigner, your quiet donor. You've mistaken my love for liability. That ends tonight. I signed my name, Anna Ellis. Then I opened the drive again, uploaded my document into their folder, and renamed it Contingency Revised. When they opened it, they'd see everything they'd ever written about me, annotated, time-stamped, and finished with one final note at the bottom. Contingency failed. By the time Thanksgiving week arrived, my silence had become its own message. No phone calls, no replies, no explanations, just absence. The family group chat, once a steady stream of gossip and grocery lists, went eerily quiet until Wednesday morning. Claire, are you really not coming? Mom, Anna, please, don't make this harder than it already is. Dad, we expect you to act like an adult, not a stranger. I didn't reply. Instead, I checked my email confirmation. Condo sale finalized. Access codes changed. Utilities under my name. Accounts locked. The beach condo, the one they planned to host Thanksgiving in, was no longer theirs to enter. That night, I cooked dinner alone in my apartment. No playlist, no decorations, just a roasted chicken and candlelight. It wasn't the kind of quiet that begged for noise. It was the kind that finally made sense. My phone buzzed again. Claire, then Mom, then Ethan. I let it ring. When the calls stopped, I thought maybe, finally, they'd given up. Then, around 9:30, the text came flooding in. Claire, the power's off at the condo. Did you forget to pay the bill? Mom, we have guests arriving. This is humiliating. Dad, Anna, enough of this nonsense. Unlock the door. Ethan, you can't do this to your own family. I stared at the screen for a long moment before typing back one line. It's not your door anymore. Then I powered the phone off. Thanksgiving morning. The smell of roasted herbs filled my apartment. For once, I didn't rush, didn't check messages, didn't worry about being needed. When I finally turned my phone on, there were 53 unread messages and 3 voicemails. I ignored all but one, Ethan's. His voice was shaky, angry, desperate. You left us stranded. Mom's crying. Dad's furious. Claire's guests are outside. You had no right. None of this was supposed to be like this. You're ruining everything over one text? I hit replay twice, then deleted it. At noon, a loud pounding echoed through my door. Not a knock, a demand. Through the peephole, I saw Ethan. Disheveled, red-eyed, his phone still in hand. I opened the door halfway. He didn't wait for an invitation. You left us with nothing, Anna. Nothing. Do you know what that's like? I leaned against the frame, calm. Yeah, I said quietly. I do. He froze. I gestured around the apartment. You're looking at what nothing looks like when you rebuild it from scratch. He tried another angle. Mom's panicking. Claire's embarrassed. Dad's disappointed, I finished for him. Right on schedule. Anna, come on, he groaned. You've changed. You used to care about us. I tilted my head. You mean I used to finance you? That's not fair. Neither was being erased from Thanksgiving. He stepped closer, voice cracking. We're still your family. No, I said softly. You were a family that saw me as a resource, not a relative. He shook his head. You're being cruel. I met his eyes. No, Ethan, I'm being consistent. For a moment, he looked like he wanted to yell, but instead, his shoulders slumped. He whispered, almost to himself, Mom said you'd understand. I gave a bitter smile. She always says that when she wants something. Then I reached behind me, grabbed a folded paper from the counter, and handed it to him. It was a printout of the spreadsheet they'd made. Their family budget, with my name listed like a line item. He unfolded it, glanced down, and went pale. What is this? Your contingency plan, I said. And here's mine. 0 balance. His eyes filled with disbelief, then fury. You kept everything? No, I said. I just stopped giving what was never appreciated. He stared at me for a long moment, trembling. You're not the person I remember. I hope not, I said. And I closed the door. He didn't knock again. I slid down to the floor, my back against the door, heart pounding, not from fear, but release. Outside, his footsteps faded. Inside, the silence stayed. It didn't feel empty. It felt earned. Later that evening, my phone lit up again. A voicemail from Mom. Her voice wavered between sobbing and scolding. Anna, please. The condo was meant to be shared. You've always been the strong one. We just need you to come back, honey. Don't do this to us. You know we depend on you. I stared at the screen, listening to the word depend. Then I opened my photo gallery, found the screenshot of their spreadsheet, the one where my name was marked as a discretionary safety net. I attached it to a text and typed, This is who you needed, not me. That version's gone. Happy Thanksgiving. Then I hit send. I set my phone down and took a bite of dinner. The city lights shimmered outside my window. No shouting, no guilt, no debt collectors disguised as relatives. Just quiet. The kind of quiet that didn't ask for anything in return. By December, the noise stopped. No more guilt-soaked voicemails. No more half apologies wrapped around requests. Just silence. The kind that finally felt like air instead of punishment. The condo sale had gone through. The car was gone. Every account that once dripped with invisible strings was closed. Sometimes I'd wake up expecting a text from Mom and a new reason to just help until things calmed down. But there was nothing. Only mornings that belonged entirely to me. 2 weeks before Christmas, I opened my inbox to a flood of family posts. Claire tagging old beach photos, Ethan posting memes about loyalty, Dad sharing a quote about forgiveness, their version of damage control. I didn't react. The old me would have felt guilty. The new me simply scrolled and thought, you can't rewrite what's on record. January came with soft rain and the scent of fresh beginnings. I spent my weekends cooking for myself, learning to garden on my tiny balcony, and reading books I'd never had time for because someone always needed something. It felt strange, this simplicity. Freedom, I realized, doesn't always feel triumphant. Sometimes it feels like silence asking, "Are you sure you're ready for peace?" And I was. Then, one morning, I found a thick cream-colored envelope in my mailbox. No return address, just my mother's looping handwriting. Inside, 4 pages. The first page was nostalgia, memories of family dinners, of how close we used to be. The second was guilt. "We were just overwhelmed, Anna. You misunderstood our intentions." The third, excuses. "Your father and I thought you were doing well enough not to need thanks." And the last, the request. Not for forgiveness, not for reconciliation, but for money. "If you could just reinstate the rent support for a few months, we can sort everything else after the holidays." I laughed, a small, sad laugh that didn't even reach my chest. After everything, the spreadsheets, the uninviting, the lies, they still thought this was about cash. I carried the letter to my kitchen sink, lit a match. The flame caught fast, curling the edge of the paper, the ink dissolving into ash. I watched until it all turned black. Then I took out my stationery and wrote one line in clean blue ink. "I can forgive, but I won't be used again." No return address, no signature flourish, just truth. It's been 3 months since. No birthdays, no group chats, no checking in texts from cousins acting as mediators. The silence remains, but this time it's peace. Not the brittle kind that comes from avoidance, but the steady kind that grows when you finally stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Sometimes I wonder if they tell their friends I abandoned them. Maybe they do. Maybe I'm the villain in their version. But I've learned that survival often looks like betrayal to those who only loved your compliance. I don't chase their narrative anymore. When people ask what happened with my family, I tell them the truth. I stopped being their donor. They stopped being my blood. Maybe one day we'll speak again, but only when respect matters more than expectation. Until then, I'll keep the receipts and the peace they never offered me. And this year, when Thanksgiving comes, the only name on my guest list will be mine.